Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the MonaLisa Monroe Morning Show. Grab your coffee or your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started on those red hot topics, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got toast. Believe me, we've got you covered. And also, you could purchase my book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor or you are a survivor, this is the book that you need. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started right, shall we?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the MonaLisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. Oh my goodness, we've got an amazing show today. But let me relax. Let me just ease on in there. So, in case you didn't see the commercial or you missed it, we've got merchandise. Yes, we do. We've got merchandise like coffee cups, mugs, totes, t-shirts. Go to the website. What's the website, Mona Lisa? Easy. I got you. The website is www.monalisamonroe.com. That's all you got to do. And go and click the products, merchandise. It's on the screen. Please believe me, honey. We got you. We got you. We got you. www.monalisamonroe.com. Go get you a cup. Go get you a tote. Go get you a t-shirt, baby. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. So I wanted to just basically pull you guys in because we have a fantastic show for you today. I've been trying to get her on this show, baby. I'm telling you. So before I get overworked, I want to bring her on. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's go.
Hey.
How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh my goodness, girl. I'm telling you, I'm like, people are going, okay, now you don't come on until 11 o'clock. What are you doing? Well, 10 o'clock in some places, 11 o'clock in some. But baby, I said we coming on early for this beautiful queen right here.
You're sweet.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. If you don't mind, please, ma'am, can you let the audience know who you are, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Rodrika. I'm super excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm excited for what's to come and looking forward to sharing the show with you on today. So thank you for the
Awesome.
platform. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you everybody knows, March is Women's Month. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I chose this month to have some super duper ladies on the show that I think are fabulous. So let's see what we got here. Live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. Okay, let's see what we got. Hold up. Derek, good morning to you. How are
Good
you?
morning.
So I know we're celebrating ladies, we're celebrating wonderful women, and you are just one of the many women that I adore. And you already know I admire you. We go to the same church and all the above, but you also have some personal achievements that I think is amazing. You have just recently completed the whammy, as they used to say, a book. What's the name of your book?
So my book actually, it's called My Choice of Words Changed My Life, and it released a few years ago, but it's still up and thriving. People are still purchasing it. It's still a hot commodity, and I'm super excited about that as well. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what is the book mainly about?
So the book is it's a I would call it a self-help book, but what it
Mhm.
does is it talks about how your words carry power. For many years, I was one who lived in a space where I was always just told what to do, told how to think, and all those things. And one year, I just had this. God just spoke to me and he said, Rodrika, it's going to be your choice of words that's going to change your life. It doesn't matter what people have said or done. He said, it's going to be your choice, you know? And so I took that and God, I just started writing down thoughts, writing down ideas, and God just made it into a book so that I could, again, be in tune with the words that I speak, be in tune with how I see my life. And even to the point of some seasons where I had to be silent, you know, so that I can truly hear what it was that God wanted to speak to me and not really rely on the things that was spoken to me, which were broken words, a lot of broken words, you know.
Yeah,
And so again,
I,
like I
I
said, it's a
mean,
self-help book and it's good. I actually have a copy here. And on the front of
yay!
it, on the front of it is actually
Wow,
my youngest daughter, and she's representing me as a young girl. And I don't know if you
wow,
guys can really see it, but some of the words that were highlighted were you're dumb, you're bitter, you're worthless, you're jealous, right? You're stupid, you're a loser.
wow.
These things, again, were spoken over my life. But on further in the book, again, that represents me as a little girl. And I have two daughters, two beautiful daughters. And then towards the back, right before the shift, I have my other daughter. I'm trying to find the page. Y'all bear with me. Because again, sometimes in life you have to have a shift, you know, and in the shift
Yes,
is like you know what, God, despite all of the things that was said to me, that was done to me, I am now open and ready to receive. And my oldest daughter represents me as a young lady, you know, and I don't know again if
wow,
you guys can see this, where it says you're powerful, you're brave, you're a
yeah,
wife, you're ambitious, right? You are enough. These things have to become bigger. And even though those small things are still there where you're still struggling to say, you know, am I stupid? Am I this? Am I that? Am I a
right,
loser?
right.
Am I all these things? Because trauma does happen to us. And so while God does do the healing, you still have to deal with
Yes,
the trauma piece of it, right? And so even though again those words were still lingering, they were not as big as what God was saying. And we have to learn how to
yeah,
make God's word bigger than our word, bigger than our circumstances, bigger than our conditions, so that we can
hmm,
truly walk out what it is that God is calling us to do in this earth. And so, yeah, this is a
man.
phenomenal book, not long drawn out. I'm a person, I hit it straight to the point and straight up, you know. And this book, when I say it is good, Mona Lisa, I still am in shock that God used me to write this. Like, I'm
I'm
like,
telling you,
this is good.
yes, yes,
So I would
yes,
encourage people to grab it.
man.
It's something you're gonna have time to read it because like. So I've gotten so many testimonies. People are like, I can't stop. I can't stop reading it. And even when I read it myself, I'm like, wow, God, you would use me to write
You
this.
really,
Yeah,
you really used me on this thing.
you really did. You really did. I'm like, I mean, sometimes I'm still floored But again, even in our brokenness, even in our pain, God can birth forth, something that's going to be great, something that's going to be amazing
Yes.
for so many
Yes.
people. And it's like, wow, it's almost like
Mhm.
it's a mirror, but again, it still gives you the power of who God says you are, rather than staying
Yes.
in that condition and in that circumstance. So I love it. I would encourage
I
anybody to
love
grab it.
it.
It's going to bless your
I
life.
love it. I love it. Um, a question was, what made you want to write the book? I think you sort of tackled that question. Do you think?
Yeah, well, in a sense, I did, and it, like I said, it was just originally it wasn't a plan to write a book because I'm such an introvert. Um, but now I'm trying to, and I'm intentionally trying to come out of that place. And like I said, when I start writing those thoughts and looking at my journal and just trying to work my way out of some of those mindsets,
Mm,
it turned into a book, and it was just like God was just saying, just go for it, just do it, just do it. I'm not a person who was a reader. Like I didn't really do books. I just kind of
right,
did what was
right.
in front of me. My life, I tackled life day by day. I didn't really plan my
Yeah.
life just because of some of the things that I was dealing with. And God just downloaded it in me. I started writing notes, and it turned into a book. And it was like, okay, now is the time. Now is the
I
time.
think it starts like that. I think it
Yeah.
starts with a journal, or it
Hmm.
starts with notes or something like that. And
Hmm.
I think from there, did you need or have financial support with writing and publishing your book? Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. So I did actually have someone to publish it. I paid someone to publish it, but I didn't necessarily need support on it. I just did it. Once I realized that it was going to be a book, I wrote it. So God gave me the title in 2015. My book released in 2020. And so it took me a little minute to realize that it was going to like be a book and try to put it together. But once I
Mhm.
had that thought, I wrote it in a matter of like 3 weeks. Reached out to a
No.
lady, and I had spoke with the lady previously in 2015, and she gave me the prices and all that. And I was like, just again, from where I had come from, I did not really believe in myself. So I didn't really see the reason for supporting anything that cost me money. I'm like, no, it's not worth it. In a
Wow.
sense. And so it took
Wow.
me a little bit, but once I realized that this is really what God wanted me to do, she was
Mm,
ready. I was ready. I sent it over. And again, I wrote it on my phone, like on my cell phone. I didn't have, I had notes and journals and things of that nature. But when it came to my book, I did it on my notes on my phone. And because I was just, whatever God speaks to me, whenever I'm in a place and I'm trying to come out of it. And then she helped me kind of format it and all that good stuff. And so it wasn't really financial support, I guess. But it did take some finances.
I cannot believe you wrote the book on your
Yeah,
phone.
yeah. Because I wanted to keep up with it. Once I realized that it was going to be a book, I wanted to
Yeah.
keep up with it. And it was a bunch of random notes. It was just a bunch of random thoughts, a bunch of random places. And it just like God just unfolded it over time. And like I said, once I realized, okay, now is the time, this is going to be a book. And what had happened was I was in the kitchen with my daughter, my oldest daughter. And
Mhm.
I had her when I was 16. And for my whole life, it has been like, my life has been engulfed in supporting her, doing things for her, myself and my husband,
Yeah.
and just really just doing things like I parented her in a sense, kind of out of experience. And so
Yeah.
when she got older, and I'm like, I've made all these sacrifices and I'm doing all these things. And I realized we were in the kitchen, we were talking, and she was just sharing some things with me. And while the things could have been very hurtful, they were truth. And the word says that truth will set you free, right? And
Yes.
so when she shared some of these things, she was like, I really didn't want this. I really didn't want that. And I'm like, wow, I've made all these sacrifices, all these things, and it's
I,
not
I
something.
mean,
Yeah, yeah, and it's not something that you want. It was at that moment that I said, "Okay, Rodrika, you can continue to go down this journey of, um, and I guess I want to call it a journey of self gratification or something." And he said,
oh,
"You can continue to go down this journey, or you can stop long enough to hear my
mm,
word and like let me and you have a conversation." I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, I need you to come in and help me with this, because God's word, I always say, it's your sounding board, right? But the Holy Spirit comes
yes.
in and it tells you the what, it tells you the when, it tells you the how. It kind of
Yes.
gives you a full scope of exactly what it is that you need to do and how you need to do it. And so I just said, God,
Yes.
I just what am I going to do with my life? because I don't want to be one of those people who live for your children. And then when your children get an adult, then it's like, okay, when are you going to have grandbabies? When are you going to, you know, and my purpose is filled with other people's lives. Right.
Right.
And so I said, and so God, he said, Rodrika, he said, so if there was one thing you could do, what would it be? And I said, I would encourage women. And when I look back over my life, I've always done that, right? I just never knew it was a thing. And so when he said that, he immediately said, my choice of words changed my life. He reminded me of what he had already said. And so then I said, a book. And he said, you're going to help women through your speaking, and you're going to help them through your writing. And I said, okay. Yes. I said, okay. Now I know, again, it's a book. And so I started formatting and started putting chapters together and trying to figure out what I could do and how it could be. And I remember my youngest daughter, when she was younger, she was younger when I wrote this book, but when she was real little, she would say, when you would say something she didn't understand, she said, what you talking? What you talking? And so that's the title of my first title. It's What You Talking. Like, what are you saying to yourself? What are you speaking? What are you believing? What are you, because again, the enemy, he comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, right? And he does that through deception. He does that by your experiences, your circumstances, and anything you say can and will be used against you. He's not going to say, well, she didn't really mean it. He's not going to say that. He's like, okay, thank you for giving me these tools, And so, like I said, it starts off with what you talking and just looking into that thing so that you could do what God wants you to do. So just
that's some good stuff. I could just sit and listen to you because I'm like going, man, is she not talking what's real? Because what you talking is what my grandmother and them used to say.
Yeah.
What you talking? And just to think how many negative thoughts come to your mind a day, a minute, an hour, and you have to battle that. And this is stuff that's been, when you were little and you're like going, where did I get this from? It came from somewhere. And someone said that to you that damaged you in some kind of way. Did you ever suffer from writer's block? And if so, how did you push past it?
So I did actually. And I'm one of those people who I'm just like, okay, God, it has to be your timing. Yeah, it was just timing, and I continue because I'm mindful. The word says, if you lack knowledge, all you have to do is ask, and ask without doubting, and He will give it to you. And so I did. When I had those moments, I'm like, okay, because mind you, when I was doing my book, it was a bunch of random thoughts. It was a bunch of random things. And so when I had that writer's block, I'm like, okay, I'll jump to the next chapter. Okay, I'll jump to the next piece of the book. And even if I don't know where it's going to go, I know if it doesn't it doesn't make sense. And I'm asking God to download this stuff for me. I'm just like, okay, just wait. And it will be like bits and pieces of things. Like one of my quotes, is the difference between you and them is your belief. And so I'm like, okay, good.
Wow.
Write that down. And then God will unfold it. And then whenever that writer's block was up, if you will, or a situation happened, that I can say, Rodrika, okay, you have the choice, right? Between are you going to choose silence, or are you going to speak from that place of hurt right now? Because you have to be mindful that what you say can and will be used against you. And I'm like, okay, it's my choice of words. So when I would have those moments, I would use those as opportunities to pour more and more into my book. And so I didn't have just a clear vision of each chapter or a clear vision of, exactly what I was going to say. It will, it will come in bits and pieces. And so that's how I pushed through it.
You know what? I remember when I wrote my book, it took me years. Okay. It took me like 6 years. And that's why I'm so amazed when you tell me that you did it in 3 weeks. How did you get from the phone to paper? Did you retype or did you just
I did not. I used to work at a customer service, and then mind you, I come from a place of just poverty. I didn't have like a computer and laptop. I didn't have all that stuff. But my husband is a very technical person, so that's probably the only reason why I had the type of phone that I had, because I just was not into that. Like even though he's always been, I'm just like, no, I'm always looking at like money. How can we save money? This is not mandatory. This is not this. You know. And so I just sent it. Like you can, when you go to your notes, and I'll show you guys real quick. Like on my notes, I don't know if you can even. Looks kind of. Let me see.
Yeah, it's a little bright. But there's a notes in your.
But there's a note section anyway, and so
Yeah.
I have so many, and I literally would just send it to myself via email, and then copy it and put it into a Word document, and then I start formatting it. Like if I want this bold, if I want this smaller, if I want this, different sizes.
Right.
And that way I always have my whatever I'm writing or whatever I'm working on. I always have it with me. Yeah.
Wow.
And now I've learned that there's also Google Docs that you can do on your phone, and with that, it's not as strenuous in the sense of trying to transfer it over. And again, you can just and you can go in that, whether you're on your computer or whether you're in your phone or whatever, you can make notes and everything is real time. Yeah.
And another thing that I have to admit to, for me, it took me a minute to even read through my book because it took me back to those places. Did that happen to you? When you're reading it, you go, oh, I remember that, what that did to me. Oh, I remember when that was. And that was sort of like, so it took me a minute to even read through it. Did that happen to you?
That's good. For me, in a sense, it kind of tears me up sometimes.
Yeah.
But it also makes me happy because I'm mindful that this whole book, even though there's a shift in the back, this book is a shifter. This book is a game changer, right? And so, like when I read, like when I say this book starts out with a hitter,
I can't wait. I can't wait to get it. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah, I mean, when I say like it starts, I'm like, my God. Today, Lord, I thank you.
Did you do like me, sort of shift the name so people won't know it was them?
In a sense, no, I didn't. Mm-mm. Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's really, for me, it's again, my choice of words changed my life. So this particular book, there's like you answer questions, you write down stuff. There's a setup, there's an introduction. I'm talking about you start from the gate, get ready. It has you on your feet.
I love it.
Like it's that good. It's speaking life, and so it's really not about people, and the people that's in it is the people that's in it.
That's it.
I mean, but it helps you to look at you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's my choice of words, not theirs. Regardless of what they said, what they've done, it's not their choice, right? It's my choice of words that's going to change my life. So it's to look at you and not them. So,
and surprisingly enough, I wasn't a reader either. I wasn't one of those people that cuddle up by the window and read a book. I wasn't a reader. And then after I wrote the book, it shifted my whole paradigm. It just was like, so, and now I enjoy reading. Surprisingly enough, it was just this sort of thing in my life that pivoted so many other things to birth, the MonaLisa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would
that's good because it the same was with me, but it also opened up me to talk because, like I said, I was an introvert. Like I didn't really talk because I was mentally struggling with some of those things. Like if I talk, will I sound stupid? Will they know that I'm possibly a loser? Will they, and I was just really struggling with that. So there were sometimes I would just, like I said, I went through a season of I just wouldn't talk. But when I released this book, it opened me up because I had to answer questions, and I'm like, I don't really want to talk. Email me, text me, And God said, you got to open up your mouth. You have to open up your mouth.
I catch myself doing that even now. When people ask me different questions, it takes me aback, and then I go, oh yeah, I did say that, or oh yeah, I did. That did happen to me. It took me years to really talk about a lot that I put in the book. It just took me some time, and I'm still unraveling as I go on in life, What would you say your strengths and victories are with writing a book? Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one. With strengths, it's for me, I think I would say the strengths are the confidence that it takes to write it, the confidence and the power that you have to use. And I would say for me, my victories, even with like my title, like my publisher, phenomenal lady, but she said, title is too long. Like it's just, it's too long. And then with the first chapter, what you talking, that's not grammatically correct, right? And so people will try to not in a bad way. They're just like, don't make sense. Like, let's change this. And I would say my victories were saying, no, this is what God has given me, and this is what I must say. And so a lot of times when we see strengths and we see victories, they have to be like aligned with what people would say they are, and what people would, agree to, or what Webster would say, or what Melody would say. You just have to be able to know that one, ultimately, like my strength that I do have comes from God, but in having the strength, I think it's in alignment with boldness to say whatever it is that you're going to say in your book. It doesn't necessarily have to be a personal thing. I think it's just finding confidence in whatever it is that you're going to do. And I believe that carries strength alone. And then the victories are to just do it. Like when you realize, if I, whomever you are, or even for myself, if I do what I'm supposed to do, then everybody else is going to be okay. Because there are certain people that are assigned to your hands. There are certain people that are assigned to your words. There are certain people that are assigned to your life, even if it's just for a season. And so the victory would be, to say, you know what? I've lived my life to its fullest. Like I didn't wait on life. I didn't wait on opportunities. I seek the opportunities, and then I let God kind of guide me to make sure that I was in alignment with those.
I like it. I heard a quote a long time ago, and that quote was, it's two types of people. One type, life happens to them. The other type, make life happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that quote, because you can sit back and let life happen to you. You definitely can. Or you can take life by the horns, as they say, or take the bull by the horns, and then you make stuff happen for your life. And that's the way I see a lot of things, why it happened to me, or why I received certain things, because I made myself well, put it like this. I took up space in areas where I felt like I was supposed to be there, and that took a lot. That took a lot. Because when I was growing up, it was always, you talk too loud, your voice is too loud. And so that made me sort of shrink. And it was like, you're too boisterous, or you're too broad, you're too, you're always on 1,000. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be in spaces. And the reason why God sort of aligned me this way is because I'm supposed to be in these particular spaces, and the only way that I'm going to stay there is if God is shining bright. And so looking back at my life, I'm like, man, I was that light that God used in dark spaces, because I tried to be that chick to steal. I tried to be that chick to go wild, but God would not allow me to do it.
You never feel comfortable in that space. And I think it's just so amazing how God will use the very being that you are. Like a lot of times we try to be something else or be whatever. And even when you think about it, I did this, I used to write for this magazine, and it was a Nigerian magazine called Vome. And I talked about the strength of femininity. And when you think about it as a girl, or even sometimes as a boy, but it came from a woman's perspective. Like even when you're born, like when your mom knows she's having a girl, right? She just goes and she buys all of these things that she thinks she looks on Pinterest. She decorates the room. When you come out, I'm telling you, within 30 minutes, like you got a hair bow on, your edges are gelled, like you got lip gloss possibly, or Vaseline or whatever on your face, on your lips. When you come home, like you get in the cutest little car seat. It's decorated. You got your mirrors, you got this, you get to your room is decorated, and you're taught to be the prettiest, like do this and do that. But nobody does the work on what about the heart? What about the inside? How are we really fixing up the inside? What are we saying for the inside? It's just normally like, it's normally like about everything is about the outside, when really and truly God is, he does the work from the inside. Like when we're born, even before we're thought of.
Yes,
He already knows
yes.
who we are. He already knows what it is that he's called us to do. And sometimes, unfortunately, people just be uncomfortable with who we are in whatever space. Because even when I didn't talk, my silence carried power. Like my silence, people will be like, "Are you mad? Are you sad?
Yeah.
Are you this?" No. They would look like that, but they would always say, "You're mean, you're nasty, you're this, you're that."
Right.
And I said, "Wow, nobody ever asked me," because I really was sad. I was sad, but I looked mad. But because people never ask, they just assume and they put these things on you, and and sometimes we just gravitate to those things, regardless of what we feel on the inside. I've always been a person who I've dressed very bright, and I think that was my personality, like trying to come out, even though I was like scared. I'm like, oh no, But God, He just always has a way, and we just have to be careful that we don't minimize and we don't shrink to meet the needs of other people who are still possibly struggling with who they are. And then God is just so amazing that He'll take your very being and He'll be like, okay, this is the space you're supposed to be in. This is the reason why you are the way you are. And it's up to us to agree, because there's power in agreement. There's power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is that's good. There's power in agreement. Yeah. What are you agreeing to? Are you agreeing and coming in? Because God said that when two or more is gathered together in His name, then He will be in the midst, right? So the power of agreement is that powerful. If you just sit in that. So if you are agreeing with something negative, it's going to happen because you're agreeing. And so you're looking at your life and you're wondering, why is these things, why am I always having this bad quote unquote luck? Or why is everything bad happening? You are agreeing with it in your spirit, man. And I was told a long time ago, because you'd be like, oh, I'm broke or whatever. My grandmother used to say, I don't agree with that. And I would be like,
there's power in agreement. Yeah, there's power in agreement. Yeah.
There's power in agreement. Everything bad is going to happen. Oh, I'm having a bad day or whatever. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not agreeing with none of that.
Yeah. Because what happens is it's moments. Those are moments. And so you have to determine, this moment is not going to determine my day. And that's why it's so important that you put those emotions in their proper perspective, in their proper place. And even when it's talking about the where two or three are gathered, what he was saying was, whenever so if you offend me, I offend you, I go to you. Now I got to take somebody else. And now we got to take somebody else again. And where two or three are gathered, we can break down that stronghold of us not being able to get on more so of a level of agreement, if you will.
That's right.
I can remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, and after I had my daughter, I was 16 and I was in the hospital with just me and her by myself. And and I said, when she was born, I said, even though I'm not nothing, I said, you will be. And that sounds very powerful in the sense of agreement. And when I agreed to what the enemy has spoken over my life, then I began to suffer with low self-worth. I had I suffer from abandonment. I suffer from just a lot of things, because it opened up the door for all of these negative things to take residence. I had agreed. Right. Now I'm allowing these things to take residence in my life. And, it just began to field over, and I start seeing the fruit of all of these things that was not so. And so then I had to go back and denounce those things and pull them out, because again, now it's words that I'm going to have to speak to uproot some of that stuff and get rid of it. Yeah.
That's right.
So an agreement. Don't agree with what the enemy has spoke,
The Coffee Foundation. Yes. Good morning, ladies. Oh, we got some yeses. Honey. I know that's right, honey bunny. What would you say to someone who wants to write a book? Oh, Lord.
It's easy. I would say just write it.
Just write it.
Just write it. Like, some things in your life you have to say, you know what, this is non-negotiable. And you always want to go to, what's the purpose of me writing it? Like, what's my purpose? When you are in alignment with your purpose, you write that vision out. Habakkuk 2:2, it says, write the vision, make it plain. Anything that comes up against that vision, because you've already written it, right? You already written the vision, even if it's small. I'm going to write a book. It's going to be about this, and it's for this reason. That's my vision. So anything that comes up against that, I can go back to the vision and say, you know what? I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it.
That's
And somebody
right.
else will come and say, no, I don't think you should write a book. You should do a commercial. And you're like, no. Because my vision is to write a book. And so sometimes you literally just have to, I'm just going to start.
Yes.
You start, and I'm telling you, it'll start to unfold.
It'll start to push you. You will start to push it's amazing, because I would always say before I wrote the book, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book. And then the one person I'm talking about convicted me of that. He was like, when? And then I was like, and then because I didn't have a win. I was just, I'm gonna. And he was like, when? And this was a publisher. And I was thinking, and he was like, that's where it starts. When you sit down and do it.
Give yourself,
and that's what drove, man. And I'm talking about when I started, every day I wrote a little something. And that's the thing. You don't have to tie yourself down and say, I'm gonna write 5 pages on Monday. Don't do that. Just whenever the urge happens, that's when you write. And then when the urge stops, stop. No big deal. It's okay. But I'm just saying that's how I finished it finally.
Yeah.
But
I would say, I'm sorry. I would say too, know yourself. Know who you are. Don't set goals. And when you're writing a vision, don't set something that's not going to be obtainable for you. I think that's the biggest mistake we do whenever we do make goals. We make unrealistic goals. And what happens is we ended up not doing anything because we didn't reach that unrealistic goal, it was never something that was obtainable. So I would say know yourself when you're writing a book. Give yourself grace, give yourself time. And if you can write 10 or 20 pages a day, jump in there and write it. But if you can't, be okay with that. I write a sentence a day or whatever the case is. And then, like I said, sometimes once you get that urge, you'll just get that urge and you'll be writing for like weeks. And it's like, oh God, this is good. And you ain't read back. You got all these grammatical errors. You got all this stuff. But you just know in your know that this is good. And you just, jump in there and just write. And again, always remember your purpose. Always remember your why. Like, okay, what am I doing this for? And that helps you to stay in the know of, let me make sure that this thing continues to be nourished.
Yes.
And getting around people who are writing books, maybe getting in a writer's club or something that can continue to feed that, especially if you're not in a place that they're writing books, so you might be sitting around people who are like, you're writing a book, it's stupid. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to read it. No. Don't agree to that. Cancel that out. And
I'm so glad. Coffee Foundation. Yes. Thank you for the confirmation. Just write it. Definitely. The Coffee Foundation. Just write it, honey. Just write it. So I would say the same thing that you said. This is very, very crucial for my personal opinion. You got to start being around people with your same vibe, your same momentum type of thing, because if writing a book is an accomplishment, period. When I'm telling you, when I saw that book come in, I ordered like 10 of them. When I finally got that book in my hand, I'm telling you, I cried. I was like, oh my God, I did it. And you try to share it with people who you think are your friends or family members or whatever, and you will hear that one person say, why you write a book? Or what? Something negative that will strike you the wrong way, and then it wipes you out. So my thing is, be around people with your same vibe, with your same momentum that, like you said, start being around authors. You might write another one. You might, start being around people that exercise that part of you that wants you to grow and be.
Right.
That's that saying that I also heard a quote that was, it's 2 things. You can be what is it? Don't just be, because you are a being. So you're not just here. You need to do something. You're supposed to birth something. You know what I'm saying? I just love that. Oh, I love it. I
Yeah,
love
I do
it.
too. And when it comes to like certain things and being around people, if you're a person who, for whatever reason, you're not able to get around people who are doing this, they have YouTube videos. When God showed me
Ooh, that's
that I
good.
was going to be a speaker, and originally I thought it came to mind like motivational speaking, and I said no, I don't want to motivate you. I want to be a transformational speaker. I want to transform your life
Ooh,
with the
that's
words
good.
that I speak. And so I just began on YouTube. I just began to look up people, and God will, again, He will always connect you with your
Yes.
person. It's like, oh, I like them. I like their flow. I like their energy. I like, and it could be very high energy or it could be very low. Like whatever your match is, God will like allow you to find somebody, and you can find them and let them be an inspiration to you. Not that you're gonna get caught up and you're trying to be like them. Not at all.
No.
Because again, you're gonna find somebody who matches you, and
Yeah.
and like I said, they have all different types of things that will allow you to be successful. And there was one quote Cindy Trim said that really changed the whole trajectory of my life. She
Oh, I
said,
like her.
loneliness is not the absence of person. Because I'm a child of 6 and I'm actually a twin. And so I've always been around people,
Wow.
but I've always felt lonely, right? She
Wow.
said, loneliness is not the absence of person. She said, it's the absence of purpose. And when you walk in your purpose, the right people will come along. So it may
Ooh.
not be your family members, it may not be your friends, it may not be your coworkers, it may not be your church members, it may not be any. For me, it was none of those people.
Mm.
In a sense, that was really the supporters. And you didn't ask me, but I do have a women's organization, and I'm telling you, when you walk in your purpose, again, the right people will come along. When I wrote my book, it opened me up to start speaking. It opened me up to start opening up my mouth. And so every
Yes.
day I do a 1 to 2 minute video just to encourage women. And God said, okay, go forth now. And He had given me, He just said Pearl Woman. And I'm like, okay, what is that? I don't know what that means. And so He just began to unfold it. But then when I released the book, and then He said, now it's time to start your organization. I'm like, I don't have a mission. I don't have a vision. I don't have,
Wow.
I'm thinking of all these things that I don't have, but not saying them in defeat, but I'm saying them to say that God, are you sure this is what you want me to do? He said, I already gave it to you. Like, I don't have to repeat myself in a sense. Like, I've already told you what to do. And so I started doing it and being mindful of that quote, right? And then I was dealing with some things, and I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. And so it was I'm a very dramatic person, but anyway, it was very dramatic. I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. So I went online, Facebook, and I put it in, and I put the name down, and I just, uploaded videos every day. And I guarantee you all, within 30 days, it was 1,000+ women that were following me. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a mission. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no website. I didn't have none of this stuff. All I had was obedience.
That's
and
it.
God will send the people. And guess what? It was not my family. It was not my church members, right? It was on it. It was not friends. They were like, I don't know, this is something I want to follow. It was women, and this thing was all over the world. It was women all over the world. Somebody reached out to me from Europe. Somebody reached out to me from Africa. And they would, and it was encouragement. And God was just downloading and allowing me again to walk in my purpose, and everything that I had been through was working. He said, I work out all things together for the good. So if you want to write that book, you want to start that business, like whatever you want to do, like do it.
Do it.
Nothing stop you. Be determined. As of right now, nothing is negotiable.
Right.
Negotiate. I'm not going to negotiate. Well, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do. No.
No.
Things have to be non-negotiable. Don't negotiate.
Just what did my son say? Just Nike that thing. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. I'm telling you, God has downloaded, and even through every season, I was working with this guy for speaking. I do the Power of Words tour, where I'm going to be traveling all over the world teaching the power of words. And I was working with this guy for speaking, and he said, you need to start getting your own quotes. And I said, okay. I said, okay, God, I don't know what that means. I really don't know how to do that. Like, you're going to have to download this to me. And so every season, He was allowing me to get quotes. He was just downloading them and me, like people wasn't supporting. It's like, it's really irrelevant if they support or not, because God's going to send who He wants. He already ordained people to eat the fruit of your lips. So it really doesn't matter who you're wanting to support or whatever. And he said, look, Rodrika, he said, you're not for everybody. He said, but your purpose for many. And I need you to stay focused on the many. And so in that season, that's what I had to keep in mind.
Wait.
And then he said, look, everybody is not going to cheer for you as you walk through the door. He said, but if you cheer for yourself, you won't know the difference. Kind of put you in the mindset of that bride when she walks in the door. She's like, hey, you know, everybody she's not really in tune whether somebody's celebrating, whether somebody's because she's so engulfed in celebrating herself that it doesn't make a difference whether you celebrate or not. And I said, wow, God. And then, you know, it was just moments like that. He was just constantly downloading things to me to help me through that season. And that person who wants to write that book, he will do the same thing for you. Like I said, just do it. Decide this book is I'm not going to negotiate this book being released from my belly. I'm not going to negotiate it. I'm not going to make up excuses. He said, there's no excuse good enough to keep you, Rodrika, living in cycles. I said, oh man. God, I don't know this. I don't know. He said, no. There's no excuse. I don't care what you can come up with. There's no excuse good enough to keep you living in cycles.
Oh, my Lord, girl. I'm going to have to, the Coffee Foundation, I received that, Miss Rodrika.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Well, praise be to God, Coffee Foundation.
I'm going to have to replay this. I'm going to have to replay this show. And I'm saying, I always replay it, but I'm going to have to see it again because when you said God will give you your own quotes, I'm thinking what you have said, I'm thinking, oh, that's a good quote. Oh. You have your own quotes. You are not lying.
Write yours down. He'll give them to you. I have 13 quotes. Again, it was to help me because I call it self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? How are you helping yourself to come? Because I'm just a firm believer. You can talk your way into something and you can talk your way out of it. And the word of God, it says that the power of death and life is in the tongue. And those who love it will eat its fruit. That's good and that's bad. Yeah.
That's right.
You know, so
Coffee Foundation.
I have, like I said, 13. And it's like, okay, let me just help you through the season so you don't get off track. He said, be in tune, don't be distracted. No, one, you got what it takes. And I'm like,
that's okay. Right.
Thank you, Jesus, I have what it takes because I'm in you.
She said, sorry, got it. Oops.
It's okay. It's okay. Not a problem. Yeah.
So how can they get your book? It says, how can we contact you and purchase your book?
So the book is actually on Amazon, or you can go to my website. It is www.pearlwoman.org, and it's on there as well.
Now, let's talk a little bit about before we leave. I know you stated about your Facebook group or your group that you are leading, the Pearl. What is it? I'm sorry. What's the title again?
It's Pearl Woman Ministries.
Pearl Woman Ministries.
Yeah,
give us a little bit of
PARL Woman Ministries. Yeah.
Okay. Give us a little information. I know you touched on it a little bit. And how did that come about? God gave it to you, and within, you said a what time frame that you ended up with?
So God gave me the name in 2015, and when I released my book, it opened up me to start speaking. And then on my birthday, I said, God, I want to because I now know that there's purpose in my birth. For years, I didn't celebrate my birthday. I'm just like, it was my birthday. Hey, we eat some cake, eat some hot dogs, or whatever. It wasn't anything. Yeah, it wasn't anything. And so when I turned 37, I said, for my gift, I'm going to jump out there and I'm going to do my first video. And from that video, I birthed Pearl Woman May 4th, 2020. Yep, sure did. Yeah.
And what was going on in 2020? Everybody was on lockdown.
Yeah. And so it was the pandemic, but I've always went to work. I've always went outside. I didn't experience. And I thank God, I don't know what he was doing, but like my husband and I, it was like life was normal for us. We wasn't like locked in, locked down. I don't know what we was doing, but yeah. I think because we were very essential. Like my husband worked from home and he would have meetings and stuff like that. So he worked from home, but he stayed kind of in the rigmarole. We were a tight knit family. So we were always having like family stuff. I don't know. We weren't shut down.
And you know what? We weren't either.
Yeah.
I was one of those quote unquote essential workers. So I kept working until finally people started complaining, and then they told us you can go ahead and stay home. And surprisingly enough, I tell people all the time, it's like, 2020 birthed some entrepreneurs. It
Mm-hmm.
birthed some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the show, we started the show in 2020
Oh wow.
because everybody was at home.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, that's
So,
good.
it is what it is,
Yeah.
and millionaires were born during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in some cases, it was a horrible situation. People did die, it was horrible. Don't get me wrong. But looking at the other side of it, which is the silver lining per se, a lot of people realized, wait a minute, I'm not going back to work. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to start my own business, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And a lot of people just started going inward,
Yep, yep, yep,
because
yep. Because a lot of
when
the stuff
you're
was
on,
already there. It was already there. It just sometimes life has to happen to get you to
yeah,
birth it out. A lot
that's
of times
right.
I think it was just already there. But yeah,
That's
it's just
it.
one of those things. But yeah, for Pearl Woman, I just was like, okay, God, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it as because I now know again, there's purpose in me being born where I never seen it
That's right.
before. And I just started doing it. And I said, God, if you can give me just the inkling of peace that you have given me, because I never even wanted to live. I was that low. But God has
Right.
shifted my life. And I said, God, if you can do this for me and I can help the next woman not have to endure as long as I did, God, use me. I want to do that. I want to help women. I want to encourage them. I want them to have an opportunity. I want them to like give themselves a chance with you,
Mm,
and that was just my whole thought process because again, I didn't have a mission or a vision or anything. It was just my whole thought process behind starting this. I said, God, if you wake me up every day, I'll get up and I'll encourage this world and I'll prophesy and I'll speak life to them, calling it
mm.
self-talk to help them through whatever you say that morning. So in the morning, I would get up, I'm getting ready for work, and I'll say, God, it's go time. Go. Whatever God would say to me, I would speak to people. Like just speaking life. And I got so many people just inboxing me saying, oh my God, you just spoke to me, blah, 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 blah. And all I can say is,
Wow.
God, I thank you. That's all I can say
Wow.
is, Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you.
Wow.
Like, it wasn't me. Stuff wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't like I prayed about it, thought about it, but I'm like, when it's all said and done, God just go. God just use me. God just speak through me. God just show
Right.
me. Because you have allowed me to make it through. And I'm only here because, mind you, I never wanted to live. I'm only here because you saved me and you saved
That's
me with a
right.
purpose. And so I want to help other people to walk in whatever it is that you want them to do. I don't care if he wants you to be a carpenter. I don't care if he wants you to be a plumber. If he wants you to work on cars, he wants you to work in pools, be a lifeguard. He wants you to speak. He wants you to be a doctor. I don't care whatever it is. God can help you. And our motto now that, I have it for Pearl Woman is to help the ever-changing woman flourish with the never-changing God. It don't matter what season you
Woo!
are in your life, God's word is still the same. Even when you look at the
Wow.
Bibles and stuff, they got all type of Bibles now. You got your leopard, you got your leather, you got your pink, you got your blue, the purple. Because again, he knows that's what's going to catch the outer, it's going to catch your attention, but the content on the inside is the same. And that's
That's
what he
right.
wants to use, And so
That's
I love
right.
it. I love God. I love being who He's called me to be. It took me a while, but I love it now.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Coffee Foundation. Your voice catches attention, Miss Rodrika. The sound of it makes people want to listen. I
Oh, bless
will be
you, Lord.
tuning in.
Oh, bless you.
Woohoo! I
Thank you, Lord.
listen. The first time I heard you, I was like, her voice is amazing. I love it.
Wow.
I mean, it was like music to me. And I was like, who is she? And then once I got to know you, and I remember we were doing the events for the church, Hope City, shout out, woo woo.
Hope City, Savannah.
Hope City, woo woo. We were doing the events, and I said, and when you started telling me your story, I said, man, your story reminds me of Maya Angelou's story because Maya Angelou just refused to speak until she was like 11 or something like that. But when she started speaking, her voice, her words, everything caught the nation. And I'm telling you, that's you. Your voice catches the nation. It's going to catch the nation.
It's so I praise God for whatever He wants to do through me. I'm open and I'm ready. But it's so amazing that, and I thank you so much to the person at the Coffee Foundation and for you as well. But I used to not like when I did start talking, like you said, people would be like the room would be silent. I would tell my husband, "Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Let me just." Because I still was battling with that thing, like
right.
stupid, if they're looking at me like, and people would just stop their conversations to look at me, and I'm like, what is that? That is so weird. Please stop doing that. And like I would start doing my fingers, like it would make me so nervous because the enemy had me that was a stronghold to say, you don't have nothing to say. He said, I told you you'll never be nothing. And he literally would like smile at me, like I could see him. And it's just so amazing that you guys are saying, the things about my voice. And I know it's nobody but God. It's not me. It is nobody but God. Nobody but God. And I just also want to I don't know what else you have add for me to do, but I also just want to thank you, for this opportunity, because I have been praying like, God, send opportunities for me to speak, because I know that this is what you want me to do. And I just thank you so much for this opportunity. And I don't know if I can kind of just pour into whomever is listening, if that's okay with you.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Because I just like the thing came up. It's Women's Month. It's March. And I asked God, when you asked me to be on this, I said, God, what is it that you want me to say? God, what is it that you want me to talk about? And he said, fresh start. He said, let them know that it's a fresh start. And so when we look at Women's Month, for me, I'm a homebody. Like I said, I don't really kind of dibble and dabble with things outside of my house. I just like, God, what you want me to say? And I just say it, not really in tune with like a lot of current events, things of that nature. I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, that's just not me. And so when I asked God to show me this thing, he said, just talk to them about a fresh start. And when it comes to Women's Month, a lot of women, just like the pandemic, we're excited, we're encouraged, we're inspired to be ourselves in this month. We're looking for, not necessarily opportunities, but we're just so encouraged and we feel hopeful in this month. We feel like, supported in this month. We feel seen, we feel loved. So many things in this month when God is saying you can have a fresh start right now beyond this month. Like he's not saying don't limit yourself to this month, even though this is your kicker. This is what catapulted you. But like wants to write the book, the person who is saying, what can I do? How can I do this? What should I say? How can I think? Things of that nature. Get you about 3 or 4 promises of God. Get you about 3 or 4 promises. And as you jump into the next season, which is going to be April 1st, right? It's April Fools. We come to fool the devil because, right, you have a fresh start. And then your fresh start, like, don't look back. Don't negotiate what God has called you to do. Again, it's not a certain thing. The church we go to, I love it so much because we are able to, like, everything is a gifting. I don't care if you're facilities, if you are, first responders, if you are a preacher, if you're a teacher, if you're a greeter, if you're an usher, everything, if you're events, everything is a gifting. And like, see yourself in your gifting. It's a fresh start. Like I encourage you from this moment, take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, and go. Like every day, like say, okay, this is go. This is go. This is a fresh start for me as I move forward and I have my promises. Remind myself of those promises. Know who you are, because who you are in God is what's really going to catapult you into the things of God. Like not the good things, not the good deeds that you do, not any of that, but just knowing who you are. One, I'm the apple of his eye. Right? I'm wonderfully made. I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. Like, get you some promises. God, he said, I'll never leave you, nor would I forsake you. He said, for my yoke is easy and my burdens are light. So if you're carrying something that's heavy, release it.
Release it.
Just do it like this. I don't know if you're watching, but just like throw it off. He said, my burdens are light. Our bodies are not meant to carry heavy burdens. So don't no longer like, I'm not carrying that stuff because it's going to distract me. And in this season, in your fresh start, right? Yeah. Don't be distracted, but be in tune with what it is that God is going to do through you. Be in tune with what it is that you want to do. Like, because he said, I'll give you the desires of your heart. Again, but we want to make sure it's in his will. Because if it's in his will, it's going to come to pass. But you can now, like, just say, It's my fresh start. I'm good.
Fresh start.
Fresh start. I'm starting fresh. I'm encouraged. I'm motivated. I'm transformed. He said, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I'm going to go forward. And I'm going to do what he's called me to do. And I'm not going to negotiate it. No.
Ooh,
My purpose is no longer negotiable. So it's a
girl,
fresh start without negotiating. I
I love it. Absolutely love it. I told you guys that this was going to be a special magnetic show. Thank you so much, Rodrika,
Glory
for
be to
being
God.
on the show this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you guys got to find her. Find her on Facebook,
Yeah.
follow her, get the book, put the book back up. Please, please, please. The name of the book is My Choice of Words. Oh, changed my life. Go purchase the book.
Yeah.
Is it on Amazon too?
It is on Amazon, but if you go to my website, www.pearlwoman.org, it's right there. You can go directly to it, or you can go on Amazon, whichever one. If you're in Savannah, I can actually bring you a copy with, sign it or whatever. Just let me know. Well, reach out to me, send me a DM, Rodrika Jones. My organization is Pearl Woman. It is a private page. That's what God told me to make it, so you have to answer a series of questions, like 4 questions, because there are some serious conversations that go on in there. And we want to make sure that they have a safe space to be able to grow and share and do whatever it is that God has called them to do. On our website, we do have Bible studies, devotion, blogs, vlogs. I'm also working on a podcast, and then an author, have a series of books that are coming out. It's just various things. So be on the lookout. Again, we are to help the ever-changing woman flourish with an ever-changing God. So whatever season you're in, God's word is still the same.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to bring you back on. You and your hubby, so y'all can talk about y'all's book together. I'm going to bring you back on.
That's my boyfriend. I love him.
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
No worries. I'm going to send you the link to the show so you can put on whatever you want to put on. Put this on your page or your platform, whatever the case may be. I'll send it to you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing show. I told you. She is amazing. Find her on Facebook. Click, like, and share the show. Spread the news. And ladies, the word that she gave this morning, fresh start. Boom! Thank you again for tuning in to the MonaLisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. This has been a blessing. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you again at 10 o'clock. Bye-bye. 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Check out the show. It's March. It's Ladies Month, Women's Month, ladies in the house. Special guests. You don't want to miss it. Bye-bye.